Hello students, this is N.K. Thukral from Edupedia World. Students, since prior sessions, I have been discussing on business finance and sources of business finance. In the last session, I had discussed on sources of owners' funds, that is equity shares and preference shares. Today I will talk on other sources of owners' fund, but before coming to other sources, let me tell you what is the equity shares and preference shares. Already I had discussed on that. Let me recapitulate. Equity shares are those shares which do not carry any special or preferential rights in respect of payment of annual dividend and repayment of capital, whereas preference shares are those shares which enjoy certain priorities regarding the payment of dividend at a fixed rate and return of investment. So this is what equity shares and preference share is. So today let me tell you what is the difference between equity shares and preference shares. Let us see what are the basis of differences. Number one is face value. In case of equity shares, face value of a share is generally low, whereas in case of preference shares, it's generally high. I think everybody is aware of face value, but let me tell you that what is face value. Face value is a nominal value of a security as stated by the issuer, that is company. For stocks or shares, it is the original cost of the stock shown on the certificate. That is called the face value. Next point of difference is rate of dividend. In case of equity shares, dividend varies depending upon the profits. If the company is having profits, it will declare dividend. If the company is not having profits or low profit, it may not declare dividend. So in case of equity shares, it is not mandatory. Whereas in case of preference shares, fixed rate of dividend is given to the holders. Next point of difference is right to dividend. In case of equity shares, equity dividend is paid after the payment of preference dividend, as preference dividend is priority, whereas in case of preference shares, it gets priority over equity shares. Next difference is voting rights. Whether equity shareholders have the voting rights? Yes, they enjoy voting rights in the company as they are treated as the members of the company. Whereas in case of preference shares, they do not carry voting rights except when dividend remains unpaid for a specified period, in case of cumulative shares or non-cumulative shares. Next point of difference is degree of risk. In case of equity shareholders, they assume a high degree of risk, whereas preference shareholders bear relatively low degree of risk. Next is refund of capital. At the time of winding up, when the company is being liquidated, refund of equity share capital is made after the refund of preference share capital, whereas in case of preference shares, they get priority over equity shares for refund of capital. Next point of difference is redemption. They are not redeemable. I mean to say, equity shares are not redeemable during the lifetime of the company unless the company decides to buy back its shares, whereas in case of preference shares, they may be redeemed after a fixed period or at the option of the company. Next is appeal to investors. Equity shares appeal to bold and risk-taking investors, whereas preference shares appeal to cautious and risk-fearing investors. So these are the differences among equity shares and preference shares. So students, now next go ahead. Another source of owners fund is retained earnings. Let me tell you what is retained earning. In simple words, retained earning is the earning that is mean surplus profits created out of net profits of the company. Retained earning, entire earning of a company are not distributed as dividend among the shareholders. Let me explain you. Retained earnings refers to the percentage of net earnings not paid out as dividend. Means if a company is having profits, they may declare some dividend. That is not a part of retained earning. After payment of dividend, some surplus is kept as a retained purposes, kept for earning purposes for the future. So it is not paid out as dividend but retained by the company to be reinvested in its core business or to pay debt. It is recorded under shareholder equity on the balance sheet. Now let's have a definition of retained earnings. Retained earning is that part of profit which is kept as reserves for use in the future. What are the features of retained earnings? Number one is internal financing. Simply, it is internal financing, as out of surplus profit, retained earnings are kept in the balance sheet. So for the future use, so it is out of only self-balancing or pulling back of profits. That is why it is called internal financing. Second feature is no external liability. Retained earnings are shareholders' funds and there is no external liability. That is, company is under no pressure to pay back this amount. Next is depends on the profit dividend policy. Retained earning always depends on the profitability of the company and dividend policy of the company. It is not necessary to keep every year the part of profits in retained earnings. So it depends on the profit as well as dividend policy of the company. Next is merits of retained earning. Number one is dependable source. Retained earnings are more dependable than external sources as they do not depend on investors' preference and market conditions and are permanent funds. Next is economical. It is very economical method of financing as it does not involve any cost in the form of interest, dividend or flotation cost. As it is a surplus profit of the company, it is created out of the profits of the company, it is internal profits, so there is no question of interest, dividend or flotation cost. Next, more freedom. Retained earnings do not dilute the control as there is no increase in the number of shareholders. As funds are generated internally, there is a greater degree of operational freedom and flexibility. Next advantage is absorbing shocks. It is the ability. The company has the ability to absorb shocks in a business. It enhances the capacity of the business to absorb unexpected and sudden business shocks arising due to economic depression and uncertainty of the capital market. Another advantage is stability of dividend. A company with adequate surplus can pay a stable rate of dividend to the equity shareholders even during insufficient profits. Since retained earnings have advantages also, but on the other hand, it has the limitations also. Let us discuss what are the limitations of retained earnings. Number one is dissatisfaction among shareholders. The shareholders may be dissatisfied with the company as retention of profit reduces the rate of dividend. It is obvious. Next is uncertainty. It is uncertain source of fund as the profits of the business are fluctuating. In some year, profits may be there, in some year may not be profit there, so there is a limitation. Retained earnings may be kept out of profit, or if there is no profit, cannot be kept. So there is uncertainty. Another limitation is ignore opportunity cost. The retained earnings involve opportunity cost, that is the return which the shareholders would have earned if the profits were not kept as reserves. However, the management does not consider this cost. As retained earnings are available easily at no cost, they may be misused by the investing in unprofitable activities. So this is the dependence on the management. Another is overcapitalization. There is a risk of overcapitalization if the company retains profit regularly without any requirement of funds for profitable investments. For example, use of reserves for issue of bonus shares may lead to overcapitalization. So these are the limitations of retained earnings. Now students, after discussion on equity shares, preference shares and retained earnings, another source of owner's fund is GDRs. What is GDR? The full form of GDR is Global Depository Receipts. Now before coming to the definition of GDR, let me explain you what is GDR. A Global Depository Receipt is a bank certificate issued in more than one country for shares in a foreign company. The shares are held by a foreign branch of an international bank. The shares trade as a domestic shares but are offered for sale globally through the various bank branches. A GDR is a financial instrument used by the private markets to raise capital denominated in either US dollars or euros. Now what is the definition? Global Depository Receipts is an instrument issued abroad by a company to raise funds in some foreign currency and is listed and traded on a foreign stock exchange. I think students, everybody now understand what is GDR, that means Global Depository Receipts. Now let us see what are its features. Features of GDR, number one is issue of GDR by depository. The depository issues GDRs to foreign citizens, which certifies that shares of Indian companies are held by the depository's custodian. This is in context of India. Another feature I do not carry voting rights. Holders of GDR do not carry any voting rights, but they are entitled for the dividend and capital appreciation. So another feature is dividend on GDRs. On one hand, GDRs do not carry any voting rights. On the other hand, they are entitled for the dividends and capital appreciation. Next feature of GDR is traded freely. It is a negotiable instrument. It can be traded freely like any other security. Another feature is to raise funds. Any Indian company with good profit record can raise funds finance from the international market through GDR, as GDRs are more important. Another feature is conversion into equity shares. GDRs can be converted into shares at any time. Now after GDRs, then another source of bonus fund is ADRs. Now students, what is ADR? American Depository Receipts. An American Depository Receipt is a negotiable certificate issued by a US bank representing a specified number of shares, or you can say one share, in a foreign stock traded on a US exchange. That is why they are called American Depository Receipts, because receipts issued by a company in the USA are known as American Deposit Receipts. What is the definition? The depository receipts issued by a company in USA are known as ADRs. Another point on ADR is it is issued by non-US companies to the Americans in order to obtain foreign capital. An American Depository Receipt is similar to GDR except that ADRs can be issued only in America and is traded at American Stock Exchange. This is the main feature of ADRs. What is the process for issue of ADRs? Process of issue of ADR is point-wise. Let me tell you. Number one is issuance of shares by a non-US company. First of all, the shares are issued by a non-US company, say Indian company, to US intermediary known as depository. So, issuance of shares by a non-US company, number one point for processing of issue of ADRs. Next point is shares registered in the name of depository. Shares are registered in the name of depository who appoints another intermediary known as custodian. This is for keeping the physical possession of such shares. So custodian, he is called a custodian who keeps physical possession of such shares. After that, there is a depository issues ADRs to American citizens, which certifies that shares of Indian company are held by the depository custodians. Next process is dividend notices reports received by depository. Dividend on such shares, notices and reports about the Indian company are received by the depository. Then dividend is received by the depository in the home currency of the shares issuing company, while depository pays the dividend in dollars to the ADR holders. Now after discussion on GDRs and ADRs having their features and process of ADRs, let us see how they differ among each other. Number one point is ADR is traded only in USA, whereas GDR is traded in several international markets. Regulations. ADRs are subject to strict disclosure requirement due to rigid regulations in the US Stock Exchange, whereas GDRs are not subject to such strict requirements. Another point of difference is cost of maintaining. The cost of maintaining ADRs are much higher as compared to GDRs. Now after discussion on ADRs and GDRs, another source of fund we can discuss, that is IDRs. Now let us see what is IDR, Indian Depository Receipts. IDR is an instrument in the form of depository receipts created by the Indian Depository in India against the underlying equity shares of the issuing company. So it is an instrument, it is in the form of depository receipt, and it is created by the Indian Depository in India, and it against the underlying equity shares of the issuing company. So these are the three features of the IDRs. Now let us see what are the main features of IDRs. Number one is issuer. In an IDR, issuer is a foreign company, number one. which wishes to raise funds from the Indian market. Foreign companies issue shares to an Indian depository, that is NSDL, National Security Depository Limited, which would in turn issue depository receipts to investors in India. The issuer company intending to issue IDR should have paid capital and free reserves of at least $100 million. This is the main feature of IDRs. So we have discussed who is the issuer and who is the depository and how the things are kept. Another is overseas custodian. The actual shares underlying the IDRs would be held by an overseas custodian which shall authorize the Indian depository to issue the IDRs. Another feature is approval for issue of IDR. IDR issue will require approval from SEBI, that is Security Exchange Board of India, and an application can be made for the purpose of 90 days before the issuing opening date. This is a process. Another is listing. These IDRs would be listed on a stock exchange in India and would be freely transferable. Another is denomination. IDRs would be denominated in Indian rupees irrespective of the denomination of underlying shares. Another feature is benefits. IDR is an additional investment opportunity for Indian investors for overseas investment. So these are the features of Indian depository receipts. So students, we have discussed today on retained earnings, IDRs, GDRs and ADRs. So various sources of bonus funds. So let's wind up today for this part. Next part we will go on discussing on borrowed funds. So that's all today. Thank you. Bye bye.